Hello and welcome to the Word for Today. We are a Bible study of the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, and we are physically located in the city of Jersey City, New Jersey. Thanks to the World Wide Web, we're able to be with you today wherever you are. So, before we go further, just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us as we take a look into the Word of our God. We have been studying the book of Genesis, and today, as always, we have some interesting stuff for you. We're going to make another milestone today. Uh, and if you've been following us, uh, we started in 2025, 24. Uh, uh, and so we are getting pretty close to moving in June will be a year and a half in the book of Genesis. So here we are, we're in chapter 27, and we're going to be moving directly from there into chapter 28. So let me put some information up on the screen for you so you can see where we are. Okay, there we go. Um, now, we're going to be looking at this for us is episode number 197. So we got a lot of episodes out there on the internet, different books of the Bible, word by word, line by line teaching. So let's get into today. I want to raise this question, and as always, we invite you to participate by putting your answers in the comment field. Please be aware that whenever you do that, you help people to discover us as the algorithm will begin sharing us on other people's pages. Okay, so thank you so much in advance for doing that. Best way to get us is to just simply subscribe to us on your favorite platform, either Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so what we're going to raise a question, and we're talking in this episode about the blessing and the deception, and also some prophecy that gets unfolded. And we're going to be talking primarily about how Esau responds to figuring that he's been duped, that he's been, uh, taken advantage of. Well, not necessarily taken advantage of, but that what he thought he was going to get, he didn't get. Okay? And so I want to start by raising a question, and the question for us is this. Let me put it up here real quick. Uh, there we go. How do you handle angry people? How do you handle angry people? Now, good thing about our forum now, we kind of changed. If you come up with an answer, right, and I've gone on a little bit, I will definitely look over to my comment field, and if you put a comment up there, we can always go back, okay? But I'm not going to pause and wait for you to put your answer in. But if while I'm talking and you want to respond to this, please feel free, okay? How do you handle angry people, okay? That's what we're going to be starting off with on this episode, okay? So let me just put my, okay. Okay, so Elizabeth Jackson says that she walks away. Okay, that is a way to handle angry people. That is one way. What about you? How do you handle angry people? Okay. Now, of course, you probably got already an idea how this applies to what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. So here's another question if you want to think about this is what kind of effects do grudges have within within relationships and families? If we talk about holding grudges, having ill will toward people, having attitudes, you know, what kind of effects do grudges have within relationships and families? So if you've been in a family dynamic where somebody has a grudge or holds a grudge, how does that affect a relationship and how does it affect families? Okay, so when we're talking about it with grudges, we're talking about these persistent, long-standing feelings. Okay, uh, resentment or things like that that can sometimes, if unchecked, can lead to greater problems, greater issues. Okay, so what kind of effects do grudges have within family relationships, within relationships, and within families? Again, Elizabeth Jackson says it separates them. Okay, that's good. Okay, so if you want to chime in, please feel free. We will go back to pick up comments as they come in. Okay, so we're going to jump right into our lesson, which is from Genesis chapter 27, verses 41 to 46, which is the end of chapter 27. Then we pick up at the beginning of chapter 28, and we go to verse 1 to 9. Now, remember, when this was originally written by Moses, the Hebrew, the language didn't have chapters, didn't have Bible verses. It was just a continuous scroll of writing. Verses, chapters, they were put in later for us to, be able to find different things. But originally, when this was written, there wouldn't have been a break between chapter 27 and 28. It would have just been one continuous story. Okay, so let's read it. Okay, I'll make it big for you at home so you can see it on your screen. And let's read this. Okay, Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." When Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. Then when your brother is no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living." Chapter 28. So Isaac called for Jacob and blessed him. Then he commanded him, "Do not marry a Canaanite woman. Go at once to Padan Aram, to the house of your mother's father Bethuel. Take a wife for yourself there from among the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and increase your numbers until you become a community of peoples. May he give you and your descendants the blessing given to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now reside as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham." Then Isaac sent Jacob on his way. As he went to Padan Aram, to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, who was the mother of Jacob and Esau. Now Esau learned that Isaac had blessed Jacob and had sent him to Padan Aram to take a wife from there, and that when he blessed him, he commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite woman, and that Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and had gone to Padan Aram. Esau then realized how displeasing the Canaanite women were to his father Isaac. So he went to Ishmael and married Mahalath, the sister of Nebaioth, and daughter of Ishmael, son of Abraham, in addition to the wives he already had. This is the word of the Lord. All right, so here we go. So you can see there's a whole lot to unpack in this passage, okay? So let's go through it. And remember, if you have a question or a comment, you can put them in the comment field. I always have an eye looking out for your input, okay? So let's go. Now, the big idea of the text is it's wide ranging, okay? But here's something I pulled out that I wanted to share with you, okay? It's this. How does God remain faithful to his promise, even while he holds Jacob accountable for his deception? Okay, so there are kind of a lot of things going on in this particular text. God has promised. Jacob has been deceptive. So we're going to find out that God remains faithful on one hand to his promise, and on the other hand, he has to deal with Jacob because of his deception. Okay? God may promise you and I something, but we may not be faithful in how we go about realizing the promise of God. So God promises it, but we may do things that are not in his will in order to bring it to pass. So God may keep his promise, but we then may still have to be held accountable to him, even though we become the recipients of whatever he promised us. And we're going to see this in the text, okay? So let's see this. Chapter 28 gives us the answers to that question, okay? Chapter 28, it gives us the answer to the question, how does God remain faithful to his promise, even while he holds Jacob accountable for his deception, okay? So let's see. Now, so we in chapter 27, and we begin to see the consequence of Jacob's deception, okay? Let's unpack this. So, following the deception of Isaac in the tent, Esau bears a grudge against his brother, okay? He has this persistent hostility. He's angry. Matter of fact, he is so angry that when he talks to himself, he says, I will kill my brother, okay? He hatches a plot, and he's stewing in his anger, okay? And if you've ever been there where you've been angry and there was no intervention, there was nobody to stand between you to bring you back to reality, sometimes we have a tendency to just stew in that anger or emotion. We just fester in it. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what Esau is. Okay? He is spiraling out of control. Okay? Sometimes people hold grudges so long till they can forget what the genesis of the grudge was. They just hold on to this persistent feeling. okay? And Ken Carter says, been there, all right? Most of us have been there, right? Where we just feed into the emotion and nobody can get to us, nobody can talk to us. We're kind of like stuck, all right? So when we talked earlier about raise the question, how do you deal with angry people? Rebecca does something, but her way of dealing with the angry person in the story, the angry person is Esau. So let me ask you this question. I don't have it on the screen, just came to me. How does Rebecca deal with the anger of Esau? Okay? How does Rebecca deal with the anger of Esau? Okay? All right, we raised the question, how do you handle angry people? How does Rebecca handle the anger of Esau? All right, so while you think about it, I'll give you the answer, okay? Her way of handling the anger of Esau is not to address the anger. It's to tell her youngest son, and they're twins, okay? It's to tell him that you need to run away from it. Okay? How do you handle angry people? Ken Carter says, with kind words. All right? When somebody is raging, when somebody's out of control, sometimes what you need to do is lower the temperature. Speak calmly. Clarify. If there's responsibility to be had, take it. Say, well, I'm sorry. I did this. I should have done that. But you don't want to get in a shouting match with somebody who's angry, because all that's going to do is elevate the temperature in the room. Okay, and then you're going to have two people, two immovable objects or forces that are standing at each other in the room, across the room, screaming at each other. Okay, nothing gets done. All right, but here's what Rebecca does. She doesn't confront the issue. She runs from it. Okay, and when she talks about the issue, notice in the book that she doesn't blame herself. She doesn't take any responsibility for her complicity. She doesn't say, I'm part of the problem. She said, Jacob, your brother's mad with you because you stole his blessing and you need to go. Isn't that like people, right? They cause the problem. Then when it happens, they blame somebody else. Now, Rebecca never says, you know what? I overheard your dad. I should have been eavesdropping. I went in and told you to dress up like your brother. No. She doesn't do any of that. She basically tells Jacob, you better get out of town. Okay? So, now, so he holds this grudge against his brother. Okay? Now, there's a Hebrew word for grudge, and it's a curious word. Okay? It provides yet another fulfillment of God's eternal decree. So the word grudge in the Hebrew literally means hostility against someone or to persecute someone. Okay? And as we look at the story of Esau, he is exhibiting anger and hostility against Jacob. But we know from the text and the story that the main source of his anger and hostility is not Jacob, but it's God. It's God. Okay? So a lot of times people are mad with you, but really they got a God issue. All right? They mad with you, but they can't hit God. They can't, attack God, so they'll attack you. Because this whole covenant stuff and blessing wasn't just about material gain. It was about the blessing of God, which Esau had said, I'm not interested in. So he wanted the material part, but he did not want the spiritual part. You follow that? Okay. So there you have it. Okay. Now, it's been said this about bitterness. Now think about this and let me know whether you agree with this. That bitterness, which is a symptom of grudges, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Okay? Do you agree with that? That bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So you holding a grudge and you think that your grudge is going to make them ill. You think that somehow your grudge is going to negatively impact them. Okay? So think about it. And Ken Carter said, yeah, that's right. You know, a lot of times we drink the poison. We're the ones who are angry. We're the ones who are holding on to this persistent hurt. And we feel like it's going to hurt the person. So I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to acknowledge them. You know, I'm going to be bitter toward them. You drinking the poison. The poison is killing you, but you think that the poison is acting on the other person. Sometimes the person doesn't even know or give a hoot that you have a feeling about them. Okay? So we got to be careful that we aren't drinking the very poison that we think is supposed to hurt somebody else. And we're internalizing it, and it's actually harming ourselves. Okay? So we got to be real careful. Okay? So here's what it said. It's like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. Now, have you ever experienced this kind of bitterness? That was either pointed towards you or was caused by you. Okay? Have you ever experienced this kind of vitriol and hatred and persistent, lingering dislike that was pointed either at you or you caused it to happen? Okay? So, as Ken Carter said, drinking the poison, expecting somebody else to die, is a heart attack waiting to happen. Okay? All right, so let's run on. Because this text is replete with a whole lot of good practical stuff for us. But as Christians, a lot of us are going to be begging off saying, Reverend, this ain't about me. This is about Esau and Jacob. Okay? Sure. Okay? So Esau says to himself that he will kill Jacob once his father Isaac has died. Okay? We see it in the text, right? He says, when my father dies, I'm going to kill him. Okay? All right. So I want you to think about that because there's something going on here. All right? Let me see if I can point you to it. Okay? So here's the question. Why doesn't Esau kill Jacob while his father is still alive? Why does he tell us that he is going to wait until his father dies before he kills his brother? Why doesn't Esau kill Jacob now instead of saying that I will wait until my father dies? Okay? Now, interesting thing that the text doesn't tell us, but we know from deduction, is that Isaac really won't die for another 43 years. Mm-hmm. Now, Isaac is 137 years old when he blesses Jacob. Now, Isaac was 60 years old when his sons were born. He got married at 40. There was a 20-year period when they were barren. They have these children. He is 60 years old. Okay? Now he's 137 years old. Okay? So his sons, who are fighting over the estate, are 70 plus years old. I want you to get this in your mind. 77-year old. Now remember, Saul got married when he was 40. So he's been married to two Canaanite women for 37 years. Jacob is 77. See, a lot of the Bible stories, a lot of things we talk about the Bible, the life of Jacob, kind of pictures him as this little 27, 30-year-old who leaves home, has this ladder and all this stuff. But Jacob is old, man. He is old. He's 77 years old, and he's not married. Okay? So when he goes to get a wife, and I'm just giving you the preview of coming attractions, he'll have to work for her, and he gets tricked, right? He has to work for land, and he gets tricked, right? So that whole period where he'll be 97 years old. Okay? Okay? So these are not young men by today's standard. But remember, back in those days, people did live a little bit longer than they live now. Okay? But still, even at 77, he's not a spring chicken. Okay? Now, why doesn't Esau kill Jacob while his father is alive? Well, Ken Carter says he doesn't want to face his father. Okay? Yeah, that's some of it. Okay? But there's some other stuff that's interesting that's going on here that kind of keeps keeps Esau from killing his brother while his father is alive. Okay? So he wants to wait till daddy dies. Okay? And I think, Ken Carter, you're on to something. Look at this. If he commits the murder while Isaac was still the patriarch, he would have been put to death by his father's command. Okay? So he can't kill his brother while his father's still alive. Even though his father is blind. If he kills Jacob, the father is going to order right on the spot that Esau be killed. He will have quick and sudden retribution. Okay? So Esau says, I can't do this now because if I kill Jacob, daddy gonna kill me. So he plots and says, I'll go through this period of mourning because daddy's about ready to die. And as soon as the mourning is over, he's mine. Okay? Okay? Now, what we don't see in the text is another move of providence. Rebecca finds out about Isaac getting ready to bless Esau because she overhears. And for some reason, she has heard, maybe a servant has told her, maybe she has heard Esau fuming and talking to himself, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. I tell you, As soon as dad died, I'm going to take him out. But somehow or another, and you can see this with Rebecca, that God is divinely using her because Isaac is not in tune with God. And all through the Bible, when Adam wasn't in tune with God, Eve stood up and, you'd see what happened. There are a lot of instances in the Bible where one time when God was going to kill Moses for about circumcision, that his wife had to come in and circumcise their sons. God, when the man doesn't do right, God will talk to the woman. God will speak to her as he does to Rebecca. Okay? So, whatever you think about it, she seems to be in the right place at the right time, and she intercepts these things. Okay? So, he says, if he does it while daddy's alive, daddy gonna make sure he dies. Okay? But here on the other hand, if he waits till Isaac dies, and then if he kills Jacob, then he will become the head of the family. Okay? So he said, all I got to do, outlive my father and kill my brother. And guess what? By default, he will become the head of the clan. So even if he doesn't get the blessing by having the father lay his hand on him and pronouncing the blessing, if the father dies and if he kills his brother, he then gets all the property. He has all the authority. Okay? So you see how pernicious the plan is, right? I'm going to wait till daddy dies, and then I'm going to take my brother out. Okay? Now, fortunately, Becca gets wind of this. Or unfortunately, depending on what side of the story you are. Okay? So, as the male head of the clan, Esau could kill Jacob, and then there's nobody to bring justice. Because now he's the head of the house. They can't bring him in because now he's the tribal leader. Okay? The mother can't bring him to justice because now he is the authority. He has all the power. If the father dies and if he kills Jacob, he's now the head of the tribe. Okay? So he has come up with this plan. And he thinks it's maniacally beautiful because he figures I can escape consequences because daddy's not around. And now Jacob has been disposed of. So so you kind of see the motivation that Esau has. Esau wants the material stuff. He wants the wealth. Okay? He wants the largesse. That's what he wants. He doesn't want God. He doesn't want to walk after God. He just wants the land and all of the wealth that accrues to being the head of the family. Okay. All right. So let's go. Okay. So Rebecca has a plan. Now look at her plan. Okay. Her plan is to send Jacob away temporarily. Okay. This is not a permanent resolution. Okay. She's still not talking to Esau. The father's not trying to come up with a father and call a family meeting and say, look, we got to live together. We got to deal with this. Son, this is why I did what I did. We got to come together, go over here, hug your brother. Let's work this thing out. Nobody's saying this in the family. Okay. Rebecca says, I got to get my son out of here. Okay. And what she is imagining is that she gonna send him as far away as she can until Esau's anger subsides. Okay? Isn't that how a lot of us try to handle angry people? Just get as far away from them as you can. All right? Don't deal with the source of the anger. Don't try to figure out why they're angry. Just get as far away from them as you can. Okay? So she comes up with a temporary plan. And her plan is, let's get Jacob out of this toxic situation. Okay? So here's the question. Why does she, Rebecca, send Jacob to a family member? Why does she send Jacob to a family member? Why doesn't she just send him down south? Why don't she just send him a couple towns over? Send him just far enough that it would be inconvenient for Esau to go looking for him. She gonna send him about 450 to 500. Why does she send him to a family member? Y'all have family ever been sent away? I hate to say it. I've had family members. We've had tension in our family growing up. One of my siblings was sent out of the house, sent away, packing. You know, I was already grown. I was already out. I found out later that he was sent. Never knew the real reason until we talking later in life, and I found out why. I had some ideas why, but let's not confront the issue. Let's not poke it. Let's not deal with what the cause is. Let's just send that family member somewhere else, to another family member. So what do you think might be going on in Rebecca's mind, wanting to send him to one of her family? Okay. All right. So let me tell you what's going on. Okay. She has to send him to a family member. Otherwise, in Canaan or its vicinity, this man who, remember, Jacob has got the blessing and the birthright, but it's not like he can run away and take the birthright and blessing with him. He can't take the cattle. He can't take all of the sheep and the oxen and the fields. He can't just pack the fields up and everything and just go. Okay? He has to become a wanderer. He's really running away from home. Listen, literally with the shirt off on his back. That's all he got. He got the clothes that he can pack in a little suitcase, and he's hitting the town. Okay? He's got this blessing that the Father spoke over him. He's got this birthright that says all this land is mine. He got the deed, the title, but he can't stay in that land. He has to go somewhere far enough where his brother's not going to say, okay, I'm going to get on my horse and I'm going to find you. Okay? And if he stays there anywhere nearby, unprotected, remember, he's leaving. He can't take the household with him. He can't take his grandfather and his father's servants. He can't take all that stuff with him. He has to leave with what he literally has on. And if he's wandering around, single, 77-year-old, who knows who's going to take him out? So my brother's house. Okay? And then you settle down, you find and begin your life. But then I'm going to call for come back, Jacob, and we're going to be reunited as a family. That's Mama's plan. Okay? So Mama has it figured out. Okay? This is a temporary move. Okay? So the nearest relatives are 400 to 500 miles away in a place called Haran. Okay? Remember Abraham went there. And that's where Abraham's servant went back to find Rebecca. Okay, so Rebecca has a brother in Haran whose name is Laban. And she tells Jacob that if you go 400 or 500 miles away, take you a couple months to get there, your brother won't come looking for you. It's just a little bit too far for him to leave his 2 wives and his family to come looking for you. You'll be safe there. You won't have to worry about nobody trying to rob you, somebody trying to take advantage of you. Well, he will. But you'll be safe there because this is your family. We know the kind of people that they raise. There'd be a suitable place for you to find a wife. And then when it cools down, you can come back home. Okay? So that's the plan. So let's see what happens. Okay? So the plan to send away is also God's way of chastising Rebecca for her part in the tragedy. Because remember, she's the schemer. She's the one who came up with the plan in the first place. Now it's going to break her heart to have to send her favorite son away, so far away till Esau won't come for him, so far away that she can't go visit him. But she, in her mind, she says it's temporary. When he cools down, when this thing boils over, I'll come back. I'll send for you. I'll call for you, and then you can come back. So say it takes 2 months to get there. Takes a few months to settle down, get acquainted, whatever. Okay? It takes another couple months to get back. So she was figuring in her mind 6 months, a year. This should be enough time for Esau to get over his wound. Okay? That's how she figures. So she's referring to now. So here's what she says in verse 45. Here's what Rebecca says. Why should she be bereaved of both of her sons in one day? So what she says is this. If Esau kills Jacob, I know what my husband is going to do. He's going to kill Esau. He's going to have him killed. And she says, if I could get Jacob away and get Esau to cool off, I won't lose both of my boys on the same day. Okay? So the way she's figured it, this is only bad news because if Jacob stays, Esau gonna kill him. And if Esau kills Jacob, Isaac's gonna command that Esau pay for that murder with his own life. So she said, I can't lose both of my sons. Not on the same day. So if I send one of them away, I'm going to have one who's away from me. I won't be able to see him, but I know he'll be alive. The other one, he'll be angry, but I can deal with that. So she makes this agreement literally with the devil. Okay? Because she has to send the one she loves away. You know, in her mind, she's saying, it's just for a minute. Esau gonna get over his anger, and then it'll be all right. Okay? So let's see what happens. Okay? Now, so she's referring to the fact that we told you. In her mind, what she's doing is saving both of her children. Okay? So, notice verse 46. Verse 46. Now, there's a movie some years ago that I really fell in love with. The movie's called Inception. It's one of those sci-fi thrillers, just interesting movie where they were trying to cause a man to change his mind. And so they put a team of folk inside of his head, inside of his brain, to kind of change his way of thinking. And what they had was they wanted to have an inception. They wanted to create the thought before it happened. It was it was crazy, but it was a great movie. I mean, it's a great, great movie. But the idea that you could do that. So what Rebecca does is the original inception, because she goes to Isaac and she can't say to Isaac, I'm afraid Esau gonna kill his brother, because that might send the old man off the edge. We don't know what Isaac would do, even though he loves Esau, but he has just blessed Jacob. He recognizes that Jacob is this heir apparent to the promise, even though he didn't like how it went down. We don't, even Rebecca doesn't know how her husband would respond if he heard that his son was laying for him to die. And after he died, he was going to try to undo all that the father had done. So Rebecca wants to play a game of inception. She wants to put the idea in Isaac's mind so Isaac can come up with the solution. All the while it's her solution. But she can't call her husband and tell her husband, look, we need to send him away. Look, we got to protect him, because Isaac, is stubborn. Isaac has already demonstrated that he's not always going to listen to Rebecca. So Rebecca says, what can I use as leverage to get my husband to see that we need to get this boy out of here? Okay, so what she needs to do is she needs to create a sense of urgency and convince Isaac that action needs to happen now, because Esau is planning to kill him. So what does she come up with? I'm glad you asked. Okay, let's see if we got it here. Now, so verse 46, let me read it to you. Genesis chapter 27, verse 46. It says, then Rebekah said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from the Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living. She said, look, I done had it. I'm fed up. Remember earlier we had told that these Canaanite women vexed both Rebekah and Isaac? Well, Rebekah says, now remember, Esau marries these women when he's 40 years old. He's 77. So they've been around the household 37 years. Now all of a sudden, Rebekah's saying, I can't live with these women. If Jacob married one like this, I might as well die. Life will not be worth living for me. If I have another Canaanite woman, and you remember all the stuff your father told you about not marrying a Canaanite, that's why you married me, and all this stuff. Look, I'll die. So here's the plan. Rebekah expected that her plan was shrewd, that she gonna get Isaac to buy in and say, Jacob, you got to go. Okay, so I want to show you something. This is fascinating stuff. I got a couple minutes. I just want to show you this piece here. Let me get these verses for you. In chapter 28, verses 1 following. I'm going to show you this. Now remember, in chapter 28, there's something interesting that's going to happen. Let me show you this. It says, so Isaac called for Jacob. This is interesting, because remember before he didn't want to call for Jacob. He called for Esau. And the question was, would he ever be in a position to call for Jacob? Now he calls for Jacob, And he blesses him, and then he commands him. Look what he says there in verse number 1. Do not marry a Canaanite woman. Okay? Where did this idea come from? After 37 years, now Rebecca's saying, if Jacob marries a Canaanite woman, I'm gonna die. I'll die of a broken heart. Now Isaac says, okay, son, you got to find a wife. You got to get out of here. You got to go to your mother's brother's house, Laban. We know those are people who respect God, who worship our God, and you find a wife from among them. Go. Okay? Now I want to show you something. So Rebecca's expectation is that she's doing the best she can to keep both her children alive. And she figures that what she does now is ensure that she's going to keep Jacob by her side. He'll come back in a little while, as soon as Esau cools off. Okay? But by her plan, she loses her favorite son, Jacob, because he got to leave. Jacob will not be in Iran for a few days. He's going to be in Iran for 20 years. And during that time, Rebecca will die. So she's letting her boy go, and she's never going to see him again. All right? He's going to be there 20 years. And in that period, when he gets back, she'll be dead. Sin has consequences. Even though God ultimately blessed what she did, she had to pay the ultimate price, in that she feared that in one day she could lose both of her sons. And in fact, she did lose one son and never saw him again after that. Okay? God used what she did, but she was not without consequences. Okay? So, in Genesis chapter 28, verse 3 and 4, it says that God blessed Jacob. Okay? So I want you to see this. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful, increase your numbers until you become a community of people. Now, this is what is particularly interesting to me. Let's go back to verse 3 and 4. Okay, you see it right here in the text. Okay. Remember when Isaac was dealing with Esau, and Esau came in and found out that Jacob had gotten the blessing. What did Esau ask Father? He said, Father, bless me. What did the father tell Esau? He said, I don't have another blessing. Y'all remember that? He says, I don't have another. And Esau wailed and let out this furtive cry. Bless me. I don't have a blessing. Jacob is getting ready to leave home. And what does Esau do? I'm sorry, what does Isaac do? He blesses him for the second time. This is from the man who said I only had one blessing. Now, if you compare the blessing that he gives Jacob when he comes in and disguises himself as Esau, and compared to the blessings of chapter 28, 3 and 4, you'll see that this is a greater blessing. So, here's the issue. Okay, let's see. Did Isaac intend to bless Jacob all along? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Did Isaac intend to bless Jacob all along. That, my brothers and sisters, is the word for today. Thank you for joining us. I hope this word is at least cause you to scratch your head and ponder. Like, God gets his way in the end. Hopefully this word has been impactful. Hopefully it helped you. Hopefully it will cause you to pick up your Bible and again. Thank you for your input. Thank you for just being connected to. Um, and we want to let you know that all of our events, everything we do, is open to everybody. We don't have special stuff for new hopers. We are here to serve the community and the body of Christ. Okay, sometimes they are the same, sometimes they overlap, sometimes they're different, but we're here to serve this present age. So on the screen is a QR code. This is a QR code that we want you to scan because it has a lot of good information for seniors, not seniors who are members of New Hope only. If you have a member of your family who's a senior, who wants to have senior services, want to know, we have seniors who get to go to the movies for free. They see the latest movies for free. Okay, they go to places where they can pick up vegetables, produce. They have all sorts of things that they do. Maybe you got a mom, a dad, auntie, uncle, cousin, somebody who's senior, and they're not doing a whole lot. Scan this QR code, and you can find the ways to connect with our seasoned seniors. Okay, ain't gonna cost you nothing to scan it. All right, I'm gonna put it up here, make it big so you can see it. Okay, we want you to take advantage of that. Okay, and while we're talking, we want to ask you if you have a prayer request. You at this time can put it in our comment field. We'll be glad to pray for you and with you. Also, if you want to support our ministries in any sort of way, these are the ways to do it. Want to be honest and open with you that when you support the ministry, the church pays my salary. Okay, you're not giving directly to me. You're giving to the church, which sustains all these ministries and outreaches, and we're really committed to trying to help our community. Okay. If you want to join us and become a member of this ministry, this church, you can scan the QR code, follow the prompts, and we will call you, get back in touch with you, and show you how you can become a member of the church. On this past Sunday, we had 11 converts baptized. 11 people come to Jesus and get baptized. And that's because of support from people just like you. Okay? Pledge 2025. We're just asking people to help us to go to the next level, make sure that we can keep this building and the facility up to speed so the next generation doesn't have to do all the investing and do that. Let's do what we can. Okay? Also, I want to share with you that on this coming Saturday, we have new members class. Now, we're doing something new. We're putting our new members class on Zoom. The only way you can become a member or go in and watch the new members class is you have to scan the QR code, which is the link to get on this Saturday's new members class. Okay? It will be both in person and virtual. It'll be a hybrid Bible new members class. Okay, so if you want to go, if you want to find out more about the church, scan the QR code, and we'll see you on this Saturday, April 4th at 9 a.m. Okay, so we want to thank you so much for just deciding to become a part of that. So before we go, we want to pray. I want you to pray for the Ford family, that God would be with them, our good friend David Ford. pray for his family, that God would be with them. And let's pray for all of those who are going through difficult times, family members who lost loved ones, who are bereaved, uh, who are just, just going through real difficulty. Don't forget, Women's Day is coming on the fourth Sunday in this month. We invite you to be there and be a part, okay? So let's get ready to go to God in prayer. Oh Lord, we want to say thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for this time that you've allowed us to come and look into your word. I pray that you bless every hearer, that we become more than simply hearers, but we become doers of the word. But sometimes we have been like Esau, where we've held grudges. Lord, help us to be forgiving. Help us to be compassionate and understanding. Lord, give us tools to deal with anger and difficult people. Help us to be more like you. I pray for those who are sick. I pray for that family that lost a loved one. I pray for those who are family members who are in ICU, intensive care. Lord, would you please be with them? I pray for our world. And Lord, since I've been little, I've been hearing about wars and rumors of war. But Lord, it just seems like there's just so much tension. I pray, God, that you would just keep us in perfect peace. And you promise if we just keep our minds stayed on you. Bless us and keep us is our prayer. Keep us as the apple of your eye. And Lord, would you please watch over us and keep us until we're able to meet again? We ask all of this mighty, matchless name of our Christ. Amen. Again, we'll say thank you for spending your time of this day with us. And we're hoping and praying that you will have a blessed rest of your day. Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. God bless.